You already know what to do. That is the part people don't want to admit. You know you should sleep earlier. You know you should stop scrolling. You know you should start the work, make the call, open the book, train your body, finish the thing you keep delaying. So this was never really a knowledge problem. The real question is harder. If you already know, why do you still not move? Every year, millions of people read about discipline. They buy the books, highlight the lines, take notes, feel clear for a few days. And then they drift back into the same patterns. Not because they are stupid, not because they are lazy, and not because the advice was false. They return because information does not create action. It never did. A person can understand something completely and still refuse to live it. That is the part most self-improvement content avoids. Think about someone who receives a serious medical warning. Not vague advice, not, "You should probably be careful." A real warning. Change the way you live, or this will destroy you. Now watch what happens. That person often changes fast. Not because they discovered new information. They already knew exercise mattered. They already knew food mattered. They already knew their habits were costing them. What changed was not knowledge. What changed was that the truth became personal. It stopped being an idea. It became a confrontation. And that is where real discipline begins. Not when something is true in theory, when it becomes too real to ignore. This is why so many people stay trapped. They know, they even want to change, but the goal still lives too far away from them. It lives in the mind, not in the body, not in identity, not in consequence. They treat it like a good idea. But good ideas do not survive resistance. Only owned reasons do. There are really only 3 stages here. First, you know what to do. That stage means almost nothing. Most people are already there. Second, you know how to do it. You have the routine, the system, the app, the plan, the schedule. That still means almost nothing. And then comes the stage that changes everything. The goal becomes part of who you are, and painful to betray. Not, "I should write." I am a person who writes. Not, "I need to get healthy." I do not abandon my body anymore. Not, "I want to build something meaningful." I am done living as someone who keeps postponing his own life. That is different. Because now the cost of avoidance is no longer abstract. You feel it. And that is the missing piece for most people. The reason is not deep enough, not personal enough, not painful enough. If the reason does not hurt when you ignore it, you will ignore it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but the moment effort becomes uncomfortable, boring, repetitive, invisible, you will slide. Because the goal was still optional in your nervous system, still negotiable, still something you admired but did not belong to. This is where people usually say they lack discipline, but often that is not true. What they lack is a reason that has reached the level of identity, a reason that closes the argument quickly, a reason that makes delay feel expensive. Because discipline is not usually lost in some dramatic collapse. It is lost in tiny negotiations. Tomorrow, later, just for today. One more scroll. One more excuse. And every time you accept that bargain, you teach yourself something. You teach yourself who you are. There is a word for the force that appears in those moments. Resistance. Not weakness, not stupidity. Resistance. It shows up exactly where your next level begins. It will offer comfort, distraction, rationalization. It will tell you that thinking is enough, that planning is enough, that intending is almost the same as doing. It will let you feel serious without having to become serious. That is why knowledge alone fails, because resistance does not fight information. It waits underneath it. So now the real question. The goal you keep failing to pursue, whose goal is it? Did you choose it because it is truly yours? Because something in you knows your life becomes smaller if you keep avoiding it? Or did you choose it because it sounds impressive? Because disciplined people are supposed to want it? Because it would make you look focused, strong, evolved, successful? Borrowed goals create weak discipline. Because when effort becomes repetitive, lonely, and slow, you need a reason that belongs to you. Not a reason that sounds good, a reason that cuts. If the goal is borrowed, resistance will beat it. If the goal is owned, resistance still shows up, but it loses power. The people who stay disciplined for years usually do not look intense. They do not always look inspired. They look like people who have settled something inside themselves. A private question has already been answered. Am I the kind of person who does this? And their answer is yes. Not because it is easy, not because motivation arrived, not because they finally found the perfect system, but because the alternative became unacceptable. The old pattern started costing too much. The delay started hurting too much. The self-betrayal became harder to live with than the effort required to change. That is the threshold. Not hype, not hacks. A quiet point where you decide the old version of you is no longer allowed to run your life. So if you keep asking how to become more disciplined, ask a deeper question. What in your life still feels optional that should not be optional anymore? What have you kept calling important while treating it like a suggestion? What do you say matters but still do not honor with action? Because that is where the truth is. Not in another video, not in another book, not in another system. In the moment where you stop pretending you need more information and admit that what you really need is a reason you are no longer willing to betray, you probably already know what to do. The question is whether the cost of staying the same has finally become real enough. Find the reason that hurts to ignore, then stop negotiating with it.